Welcome to Zentangle Project Pack 11, Day 3. My name is Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria, and Rick's going to do some really fun stuff here. Hang on to your hat.
So we're doing real basic crescent moon, but I'm thinking, the back is just so beautiful. Let's use that as a string. And so I'm going to begin this with that classic little ladybug figure, and we're going to walk those all around the that that beautiful curve. And when you look at the curve, you'll see that each one of those curves sort of takes off and from one corner and lands on the opposite corner, and it is each one in a square, and they keep getting smaller, and it makes that spiral.
So this is a Fibonacci spiral?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or a phi
or a
spiral.
phi
Yeah.
spiral.
These are very magical. They're
Yeah.
like no other spiral.
And you'll start to see it in all sorts of places, like things that people see through telescopes or weather patterns. Now, as I'm laying these little ladybugs down, I've got this idea that I'm going to have the gap between them about the width of the ladybug itself. And now I'm going into a smaller square here, and my idea is that I'm going to sort of make the ladybugs a little bit smaller here.
So now they can see what you were talking about, the curve going from corner to corner as the squares get smaller and smaller, and that's what creates this magical spiral.
Yeah.
These are all phi ratio rectangles and squares put together. And very
And
cool.
so we worked it so that it ends up at the square of our logo there. So after coloring in the first one with the micron, I decided, okay, I'm just going to draw each one with the micron, and then go back with the graphic one, and we'll fill those in that way.
So this is the graphic on the fat end
Mm-hmm.
pen. And my suggestion is don't go too close if you're not comfortable with that. Go in the middle, and then you can go back in with your O1 and touch it up.
Right.
Rick's pretty handy dandy with his pens, so he's going right for the
Right to the edge.
right to the edge.
But you'll see I turn my tile.
My God, just even that
right.
is beautiful,
That's pretty
right?
cool. So let's take the O1 here, and going to aura each one, and just keep finding that comfortable place of orienting your tile for your stroke. And for the most part, I pretty much leave my hand in the same place, like the heel of my hand, and then move the tile underneath. And that's one of the cool aspects of Zentangle art that you don't see in most other forms, because there's no up and down or left or right, so you're rotating your canvas or moving your canvas under your drawing hand, instead of moving yourself to a fixed like something on an easel or something.
This is where your meditation comes in. You can really just forget about everything in the world and just concentrate on these auras, these beautiful auras that are growing into a beautiful tangle.
Yeah, and just really focusing on one stroke, because when you know that when you get to the next stroke, you'll know what to do. You can put all of your attention in the stroke that you're currently doing, and there's a real charm in that. Really,
And
yeah.
there's no hurry. There's no reason to hurry. These are
Mm-hmm.
little tiny pieces of artwork. You're going to finish it within a short period of time. You don't, and if you have to leave it till another day, I'd rather see you leave it than rush through
Mm-hmm.
to get it done. This one's a fairly quick tile. It's so simple, so beautiful. You didn't have to draw the string. It was all there for you.
And you can, you know, you get two sides here, so you get double use of your tile.
That's right. You can do it on both sides.
Yeah. A lot of people on the Opus tile, we have these really large tiles, and like 10.5 inches square, and a lot of people have done. There's some cool work online.
On
You can
both
see.
sides, yeah.
So as I get down towards the end, I kept the width of the auras the same, even though the little ladybugs changed size. And so once I've gotten to where the auras are touching, I just decided, well, I'm going to start at one side and just end it where it touches the other aura. There's many ways you can do that. Sometimes you just bounce around and have one continuous aura, but you'll see what I decide to do next, and this will make sense. But I'm basically doing auras until I have no space out to the string of that curve. Remembering to breathe, just relax, enjoy it, and as you look at it, you can decide, okay, I'm going to put an aura here or not, and just have fun with the way you're approaching this, and it's sort of like having communication with the art that you're creating, and it's constantly changing with every stroke that you put down. And instead of having a fixed plan on, okay, this is what it's going to look like, it's almost a collaborative effort with what you're creating. And you see, okay, well, you respond to each stroke.
What I like about this art form is every one of you is going to be following along with Rick's simple tangle here. And yet, they're all going to be just a little bit different, just so that you can say, yeah, that's mine, that's mine. Your lines belong to you, and embrace that part of your art. Rather than wanting it to be exactly like what we're doing, embrace the part that it's you.
Right. Okay, so at this point, I just want one more, I want to go right into that corner. And that's the freedom that you have to maybe set up some idea of, okay, this is how I'm going to approach it, and then at some point, I got to do something a little bit different. Sort of like that sunflower that decided to put in 22 petals instead of 21.
I know, huh?
I went out and counted a bunch more, and they were all 21. But
except for that one,
except for that one, yeah. If you
that must have been waiting for you just to say, oh, yeah, you think you know what you're doing?
Right.
Yeah, you think you know everything?
So I'm putting in another set of crescent moons, and they don't all have to be in the little crevice. Like you see, I changed that up a little bit. But if you're wondering what we're talking about, check out the intro video for this series, and we do some work with one of the flowers in our garden. So I'm back to the graphic one, and I'm going to fill in that new series of little ladybugs. When I get down to the small ones, I went back to the 01. But you can see, this is really, isn't that pretty already? There's something so beautiful about that form, and then combining that form with these patterns. It's like, it doesn't get much better than that.
We always go back to Crescent Moon. It was the first, and it always resonated with me too.
Well, a lot of your original, like your art from your calligraphy days,
Yeah.
that kept poking in and out of there. So I'm basically, doing what I did the first round and just putting in auras, and I'm putting in more where it's in the larger square. So instead of doing the lines closer together, I'm just doing, or farther apart, I'm just doing more auras in the larger square.
So this is where your artistic sense comes in. You have choices. I mean, the pattern takes you, a certain amount of direction, but you still have choices to go out of the bounds or go out of the lines and make decisions that nobody else will notice, but that you'll notice the balance is better, or that you just felt like doing it that way, and that's okay.
So my idea is to have this sense of proportion in each square, sort of carry on through each one. But I'm, again, like Maria's saying, I'm not stuck to that hard and fast. It's like, here, I'll put one of these guys up on the top, and so just play with it.
It
And
was that 22 that did it to you.
yeah, it was
Because
that,
you're
like,
usually right on.
right. Hey, if the sunflower can break the rules, so can I. And a lot of the rules that I'll play with are self-imposed anyways. So. But it's that elegance of limits, of having some sort of idea of, okay, this is the direction I'll take. Like you're starting out on a walk, okay, I'm going to go this way, but then you see something really fascinating, and, well, I guess I'm going to make a left turn or a right turn, or... So at this point, I switched back to doing two, or not switched back, but I decided, well, I'm going to do 2 oars each time. And that was just more for exploration.
Also, it means you don't have to turn your tile as often.
Yeah, that's true, because I'm right in that spot. Didn't think of that. So you see, I'm just building up the auras, and they're sort of peeking through and overlapping in different places. See how I'm like just filling that
You're
one
really
in,
cheating right
right?
there. Oh my goodness. I've never seen that in you, Rick. That's
Right?
amazing. Wow. Wow.
So I left that in there when I edited it, just so you can see. You can do all sorts of things with these auras and
You can
put
do
them
anything you
in. Really.
want. Anything is possible.
Okay, so let's put a few more of these little crescent moon seed forms in here. I think I'd do one more round, and just going over the writing there. I want to leave the logo untouched, but this is another playground for you out here, right?
Mm-hmm. I can see all sorts of tangles within that spiral,
Right.
both sides of it, and covering the whole thing, and maybe just leaving the red square. There's so many options on this tile, and once you go over the lettering, a lot of the patterns will cover it completely.
Mm-hmm. And this layout of these squares, if you want to create it on the front of the tile, that's what the phi operandus
Yes.
is for.
Phi marker.
The phi marker is that all of those proportional places, you can make those squares and all of those shapes. In fact, you can do it on this tile or any sheet of paper you can use. So if you're watching this, you can use that little that guide is underneath. You can look at in the link below. You'll find it, and you can just print it out for yourself. Right, the phi marcus operandus. So I'm just adding a few more auras in here that just want to like say, okay, is that it? It's like that. It reminds me of that Japanese painting of the wave, right?
Right.
So now it's graphite time. And as you can see, you don't need to add graphite to the black areas.
In fact, you don't want to.
You don't want to, yeah.
Because it makes it shiny. And I mean, if you do, it's okay. But
It won't
it's
get
not
darker.
necessary. Yeah, it won't get. If anything, it makes it lighter.
It reflects the light a little bit.
Yeah.
So all of the places that those go, nest or go over and under the shading can really make that look three-dimensional. So I'm just putting down the graphite right now, and then I'll come back with the tortillon.
And just soften it.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes to life. You don't see it much at first.
Right.
But when you start smoothing it out, then it's right before your eyes. You can see.
It's really fun.
I know. Look at that. What a difference.
And I'm holding the tortillon at a very low angle. It'll keep the point useful much longer.
How pretty.
Isn't
Look at
neat?
that.
So in your project pack, you have some these chalk pencils from General Pencil, and I kept as I said, I kept the gap between those ladybugs about the width of the ladybug itself. And so now in this outer part, I put those colored ladybugs in between, and now I'm aura-ing them just to have a little, take up some, just have some texture, sort of like a ghost tangle. Just very light hand here. And it has this nice balance. And you'll see in this case, I'm just doing the overall aura, one continuous line. And then just smushing it, just softening all those edges.
That technical term again, smushing. I don't know how else we could describe that.
Just moving that in so there's this it's like it creates its own haze, but you still see the pattern. And it creates this really nice difference between the outside and inside there. So I'm going to put my chop in, and I like to integrate my chop sometimes if there's, sometimes it floats free, but in this case I can make it part of the pattern. So it's like sort of hiding in there. But of course I'd like to integrate it in, so let's give it an aura or two. Just add that down there. Always one last touch.
Make everybody go searching for it, right?
Right. So there we go. Something a little bit different, and add that final bit of shading. So thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Okay, see you later. Bye.
Bye now.